Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom. Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom, and today we're going to talk about Ready to Love Season 8 Episode 4 Black and Beautiful Hold Down. Now before I begin, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, like this video, leave your comments so I know what you thought about the episode, and tell a friend that Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom does Ready to Love, 90 Day Fiance, Married at First Sight, and different little things here and there. So, all right, let's get started. So on tonight's episode, Tommy meets the ladies for a brunch to let them know that, hey, I'm gonna have a big black beautiful hold down. I want you to wear your best cowgirl gear, and you know what? You all will have the power this week. So don't forget to get out there to mix, mingle, and make your connections, and I'll see you in a couple days. Next, we have a few dates and quick scenes. First up is Sierra and Morier. She invited him out for lunch because she says she's feeling a spark and connection and wanted to see if the feeling was mutual. She said Morier has been texting her back and forth. They've been communicating, so she wants to know, if the spark is there and they could go to the next level. So as they meet at the spot for lunch, they sit down and the topic of marriage comes up. Sierra says, have you ever been married? Maria says, what, me? Oh, no, I've never even got down on one knee for somebody. And then he goes on to explain that, yes, even though he has a son, he explained that his son's mother and him, she never closed the door with her ex. But he's raising his son up in the way he feels a man should be. And he also wants his son to experience a loving home and a long-lasting relationship in marriage the same way that he had growing up, because his parents are still married and he wants his son to experience that as well. So then Morier asked Sierra, so when's the last time you've been in a relationship? Like, how long ago was it? Sierra said she's been single for the last 4 to 5 years. When she wanted a man for whatever she needed a man for, it's not a problem. Morier said to Sierra, you know what, hear me out, okay? He said, it feels like that maybe with our connection being so natural and genuine, that I've known you before in a previous life. And Sierra co-signed that. She goes, you know what? Yeah, I can see that. It's not like I'm sitting around with someone I don't know. It just feels genuine and natural. Morier also said to Sierra, you know what? I want to be sexually attracted to my best friend. Sierra says, so do you think that I could be your best friend? He goes, yeah, like say less. That spark is there, and they had a lot of smiles and innuendos. Then we have Lee. She meets up with Red. Lee says she's stepping out of her comfort zone and asks Red out. Now in confessional, Red said that when God invented women, this is what he meant by Lee and her shape and what she looks like. So as they sit down to talk and they're eating lunch, the conversation didn't seem like there was a spark. It came off a little awkward, even though they were talking, but they weren't really talking. Red brought up the fact that a lot of people or a lot of ladies, or maybe just in general, don't know much about him. He said before he became a DJ and did the comedian thing, that he used to work corporate 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. He was listing off the jobs he had. Lee asked Red, like, are you serious? She said, is this a joke? She goes, are you telling me about yourself? You want me to know really who it is that you are, like from within, deep down? Or is this like a class on what it is you used to do, telling me your jobs and just, service level stuff? So Lee just wasn't feeling Red at all. Red said that he wants to be with someone that's on the same level with him. He said he's more of a laid back kind of guy, but so far, he's not maybe presenting that way. And he's looking for someone who's gonna be okay just being home and on chill. So I don't know, Red seems to be a little shaky with some of the ladies. All right, so next up is the hoedown. The ladies and the men are wearing their best Western wear, but you know what? When I saw Eris, she had on like pink jeans and a lace top. that didn't give me Western wear. You know, Western wear is the hat, the plaid, maybe some chaps. She didn't have none of that on. When we see Tommy, he's wearing his best Western wear, and he's followed by some gentleman who happens to own the farm that they're having to hold down on. Tommy said, this is black owned, and these are some black cowboys. I said, yes, indeed. Okay, I see you, black cowboys and black owned property. So Tommy says, you know what, y'all go ahead and have some fun, dance, kick it a little bit, and hey, mix and mingle. Now, before everyone could break off to mix and mingle and get into little groups activities and different things like that, Chris tells Tommy, hey, you know what? I'm sorry to let you know that I got to dip out a little bit early because I have to go to work and get an award. And unfortunately, I have to be there to be presented the award, so I have to leave a little bit early. And Tommy says, you know what? I'm gonna need a note from your job, okay? Because I don't just allow you people just dipping off. But then Tommy says, congratulations, and make sure you make some connections. So when the couples break out to their activities, we see Janelle and Quentin. She's sitting on his lap talking about, you know what? I really want the next guy I date to pick me up. So Quentin starts to, attempt to pick her up. She's like, oh, not right now, not right now. And then Christopher, the newest single, says he wants to meet all the ladies so that they can meet the latest stud that has entered the room. And then when we see Kiara, she's out there being flirty with everybody. I think that's just part of her personality because she is a former cheerleader. And then we have Sierra talking with Christopher. She's saying, oh, he looks good, but, maybe he could be a hatfish. And so production asks, what is a hatfish? And Sierra explains that it's a guy who wears a hat. He looks really good in that hat, but when he takes it off, it is not all what is meant to be. And you know what? That's the first time that I even heard that term, hatfish. Also, too, when we're seeing Christopher with his hat on, he is making the rounds and he is understanding the assignment. So next we see Harold and Janelle. They're laying on a hammock and Janelle says Harold and Quentin are her top two. I mean, okay, Janelle was just sitting on Quentin's lap. So now she's in the hammock with Harold, just relaxing, giggling, and Harold's like into her too, and they're just having like conversation. But one thing Harold said though was, so do you mind if, maybe we could go skinny dipping in the moonlight? And as soon as he said that, here goes Quentin walking by a mean mug and talking about, y'all getting real close. You're getting real close. So, you know what? Janelle didn't necessarily answer, but since Harold and Quentin are her top two, to see who she is connecting with the most, I could see her doing a moonlight skinny dip, so I don't put it past her. So then when we see Red, he is talking to Unique. So Red has decided to pull Unique to the side again. Red is trying to explain his case, his cause, who he is, and what he's about yet again. And I'm thinking, why even bother? Because the conversation, the interaction with you and Unique, the first time where it went all the way left and things got out of hand. So as he pulls her to the side, he gets to talk and he tells her, you know what? When someone disrespects me, I want them to know how I feel. He wants to let them know also he wants to make peace. Unique says, you can only control what you control. I can control me. You can control you. You can't control the conversation. So Red basically wants to know, like with Unique, why is what he said and how he's coming off like leaving a bad taste in her mouth. Red goes on to explain that, you know what, he has the best name in the city. So then Unique says, oh, so you be in these streets? Red says, no, that's not what I mean. He goes, my name rings bells. And Unique says, you know what, if you're such a comedian, you're good at your job, you don't let things bother you, you're all this, you're all that, why is it when I say something to you, you took it personal? Like, what is the issue? And so Red starts naming again everything that he does, and he's like, you know what, I can pull receipts. Unique is saying, you know what, you come across narcissistic. And in a way, the conversation, I don't think it was narcissistic, but it was just the fact of Red trying to push the issue of, I do this, I do that. People know me. So, if they don't have a problem with me, why do you? Just the conversation, the body language from Unique, it's just like, why are you even telling me this? Like, she don't care. And Red is trying to make her care. Well, guess what? He kept poking the bear and the conversation went left yet again. All right, so next, all the singles are together for drinks and to talk and to do other activities. You have Eris and Phil. They're off to the side talking. Era said she loves flirting with Phil because she wants someone to be a father one day and ready for the next stage in her life because she's ready to be married, have kids, and, you know, have the white picket fence. And Philip is actually flirting with her too. He's asking her like, why are you so fine? You know, so the spark and chemistry is there for them. And then we also move to Kiera and Marvin. Now Marvin seems surface level interested in Kiera, but Kiera isn't sure about Marvin because she says he doesn't necessarily want to settle down in Texas. And that's true. Marvin said that he was thinking about like moving to the Virgin Islands, but then when Kiera asked him again, like, so I thought you told me the first time like you were up to moving elsewhere, and I'm just interested in settling down, have a family here in Texas. And then Marvin was like, well, you know, for the right person, I would settle down. Now, for that reason alone, I mean, he did kind of give two different stories about moving to Virgin Islands, but for the right person, he may settle down. So I don't know. I guess it depends on how you see it. But Kiera is saying in confessional that she can tell that Marvin is saying things that he wants her to hear, and that she can't decide if he's selling her a dream or rattling the cage, and if it's all one big red flag. So then we see Herbert sitting down with Katerina. She says that Herbert's vibe gives grown man, and she really likes that. We have Chris talking with Jessica. Jessica is saying that she doesn't want Chris to be forgotten before he heads off to work, and she's going to do all that she can to make sure the ladies don't put him in the bottom. So she tells Chris, let's go around and talk to the ladies and, you know, compliment them on their outfits and let them know, you know, you're still here, and just, you know, keep your name in their mouth. So Chris is down with that, you know, because he doesn't want to, you know, leave to go pick up his award for work, and then next thing you know, who's to say he's going to get a phone call like, you know what? You don't have to come back because you've been eliminated. Okay. So later in the evening, Tommy shows back up and brought some people in to teach the singles a line dance. Now, Kiera said she's the best dancer there. Maybe she is because, again, she's a former cheerleader with the Dallas Cowboys. Okay. And Herbert and Janelle are dancing real frisky together. Janelle is up on Herbert and, you know, trying to learn the line dance. And the rest of the group were dancing to the beat of their own drum. All right. Now, after the dance, Janelle and Quentin are talking. He tells her she's very popular. Quentin goes on to tell Janelle that originally he was afraid of the process of rated love because he didn't feel like he would have a connection with anybody. But he says with Janelle is real easy, and, you know, he wants to know if maybe they can continue on. Like, he wants to be exclusive because Janelle is talking to, again, him and Harold. So he knows this. So he's trying to get Janelle to be like Team Quentin only. But Janelle said, you know what? We don't know where this is going to go, and we just have to nurture the process and see if it can carry us out to the finish line. And she was being honest with him, saying, you know, I have to decide between you and Harold. So, and then when we see Marvin, he's now talking with Lee. He tells her that he's attracted to her and that he feels like she's genuine. He said he wants a marriage like his parents and that his next relationship will be his last. So Lee says like a monogamous relationship. Marvin says, yeah. Now Marvin's reputation is, you know, he's a erotic book author, and he likes to do different things like a sex dungeon and different activities that relates to that. Then Lee says, well, you know what? I don't want you to be bored with me if I'm not into the same things that you're into. And then Marvin turned the conversation into what kind of fetishes that he has, about the sexual things he has in his room under his bed, like whips and chains. And he described how a woman could get to the finish line, just all kind of things that Marvin's into that may not be everybody's lifestyle. Well, Lee said in confessional that Marvin knocked her out of her seat, and that even though she's not judging, but it's gonna be her best bet to slide on back because this is not her cup of tea. All right, now it's time for the ladies to come together to talk to Tommy to say who it is that they're feeling and who they're not. Now, the top men are Quentin, Chris, and Phil. There's different men, Harold and Morier in there too, but Quentin, Chris, and Phil seem to be the top three for this week going forward. And the two men that are in the hot seat are Red. The ladies say that there's a disconnect with him, and the name dropping of who he knows and who he doesn't know is a turnoff. And then Marvin is also in the bottom. They say his lifestyle comes into play and he's inconsistent. And he says, and the ladies also say that he tells you things that you want to hear and they don't think he's really on the up and up. So after the ladies discuss who they feel is not ready to go home, Tommy calls everyone back together, say who is going home and who's not ready for love. Cliffhanger, so you have to wait until next week. All right, everyone, so that was the end of this episode. Next week, we're gonna see who's gonna go home, and the men also have the power as well next week. On that episode coming up, we have Janelle is out to lunch with Herbert and Quentin to see who has the best connection with her. We have Chris having a heart-to-heart with Aries. We have Kiara talking with Quentin and saying that he gives the vibe that he only dates white women, so she calls him out on what she heard with Quentin. And then Kiara, again, also meeting with Morier, and Morier is telling her that the fellas met up with Tommy and her name came up. And Kiara's like, oh yeah, in a good way or a bad way? So, all right, everyone, again, that was the end of the episode. So thank you again for watching. And until next time, everyone, live simply, be grateful.